Turn to page 394.
I'm working on it, just a second. 12 Tales of Wonder. The second tale. The Squirrels and the Bramble. Once upon a time, the whole world was lush and green and covered in countless forests. In the mild days of spring, children would play in their clearings, making necklaces from wild flowers, while in summer they would shelter from the sun under their ancient trees. And in autumn, of course, they would pick up and eat their juicy fruits. Indeed, forests have always been important to youngsters, being carefree places in which to play. But what do you know of the forest guardians? Every forest has one. They are believed to be godlike creatures to protect the woods they inhabit, as well as all the creatures that dwell within. But how do these guardians come into existence? No human knows for certain, of course, but it is believed they are somehow selected from amongst the creatures that live in the forest. Naturally, since the guardian is responsible for protecting all of the forest's inhabitants, the biggest, strongest creature in the forest is usually the one selected. There has, however, been one notable exception, as related in this well-known fable. A proclamation from the deities of the forest. A forest, luxuriant with leaves, was home to a gently flowing river and a spring that produced fresh water, and all the beasts lived there, from tiny insects to creatures as big as 2 men. One day, the deities of the forest made a proclamation. "The time has come for you to choose your guardian." For the forest did not have a guardian at the time. As soon as the message was received, a controversy prevailed among the beasts of the forest, with each one claiming that he would make the best guardian. "These sharp fangs will frighten away any enemy," growled the black wolf. "These huge claws will shred impostors to pieces," roared the gray bear. And so it continued, with every large forest animal boasting his own case, from the stag with his great antlers to the white catfish who dwelt in the spring. The forest's smaller inhabitants, those who had no chance of winning any test of strength, could do nothing but watch silently as all of this unfolded. The bickering continued for several nights, until one day a golden haze descended upon the forest, bringing with it an aroma so sweet that the beasts soon forgot about choosing a guardian, and simply spent the day in a contented daze, staring at a new golden coloring of the trees around them. The very next day, however, crimson saplings sprouted from some of the trees, and quickly grew into a large tangle of red bramble. For the golden haze the beasts had been enjoying was in fact a cloud of evil-disposed spores. By the time any of them noticed, however, the bramble had covered the entire forest. The bramble strangled tree after tree, causing them to wither and die. It seemed only a matter of time before the entire forest would be quite devoid of life. Thus, the wise owl said, "Somewhere in this forest is the tree in which the spores first took root. This tree is the source of this terrible bramble. Cut off its source, and the entire thicket will wilt." Desperate to save their forest, the black wolf and the gray bear resolved to find the tree the wise owl had mentioned. However, the bramble had grown so thick and so dense that their great bodies simply would not pass through it. It was time for the smaller forest creatures to come to the fore, the ones who abstained while the other beasts had bickered and boasted about who was the strongest. And so the mottled snake slithered through the bramble, moving deep into the forest in search of the tree where the first spores took root.
"Alas, the bramble wraps the tree completely,"
hissed the snake.
"We shall need to cut through it somehow, but I have neither claws nor teeth, only this forked tongue."
Upon hearing the mottled snake's report, the blue woodpecker leapt into action. "I shall pick through the bramble in no time," he chirped with confidence. But as he neared the tree which the mottled snake had described, the bramble became too thick, and he was quite unable to spread his wings, let alone fly close enough to peck at the bramble, and thus he returned dejected. That was when the field mice and the squirrels rendered their assistance.
"These sturdy front teeth of ours shall gnaw through the bramble,"
squeaked the field mice.
"But the bramble goes all the way to the top of the tree. Can you truly climb so high?"
The field mice had to concede that they could not, and so it was the squirrels who set off to cut through the bramble that surrounded the tree that had been the first to succumb. The squirrels soon reached the tree and scaled it with ease. In no time at all they were nibbling at the bramble and making light work of cutting through it. No sooner had they begun to chew their way through the bramble than large parts of the thicket that covered the forest fell away and withered, and so the squirrels decided to continue nibbling until the tree was completely free of bramble. Alas, the bramble contained poisonous spores, and the squirrels who swallowed them soon felt the effects and fell lifeless to the forest floor. And yet, this did not deter the other brave squirrels who had resolved to rid the tree of the bramble and save the forest at any cost, and each of them continued to chew. The moment the last of the bramble was cut, the entire tangle withered away. The last remaining squirrel fell from the tree, dashing its head upon the ground. The squirrels had saved the forest. When the black wolf and the gray bear were finally able to wade through the dead bramble, they came across the bodies of the dead squirrels and let out a terrifying cry. As the animals' cries rang out, the squirrels' souls floated from their bodies as pure orbs of light. The black wolf and the gray bear watched in amazement as the orbs floated into a hollow in a tree, bringing it back to life. The deities of the forest had spoken. The squirrels were the forest's true guardians. Though they were among the smallest and weakest of beasts, their courage was greater than all of the largest creatures. A wise wizard knows, size has no bearing on a creature's stature.
Morty, what did you do? Pack your shit. You f***ed with squirrels, Morty. We have to pack up and move to a new reality, Morty, because of these damn squirrels, Morty.